If you've ever been ghosted, fallen in love with the wrong person, or laid in bed at 2 a.m. thinking about life, Shakespeare wrote about that 400 years ago. He wasn't just a poet, he was the CEO of heartbreak, the king of drama, and the original plot twist master. In the spring of 1564, in a modest home in Stratford-upon-Avon, a quiet market town by the river, a baby named William Shakespeare was born. William Shakespeare was the son of John Shakespeare, a glovemaker and local counselor from Snitterfield, and Mary Arden, the daughter of a wealthy landowner. He was the third of 8 children in the Shakespeare family and the eldest of those who survived. At just 18 years old, Shakespeare married Anne Hathaway, a woman 8 years older than him. Their wedding took place on November 27, 1582. 6 months later, Anne gave birth to their first child, a daughter named Susanna. 2 years after that, the couple welcomed twins, a boy named Hamlet and a girl named Judith. Tragically, Hamlet died at just 11 years old for reasons still unknown. He was buried on August 11, 1596. Some scholars believe that the name of Shakespeare's most famous tragic hero, Hamlet, was inspired by the name of his late son, Hamnet. Between 1582 and 1585, Shakespeare vanished from the public record. Historians call this mysterious period the Lost Years. So what was he doing? Well, no one knows for sure, but the theories are wild. Some say he worked as a law clerk, since his plays show a surprisingly sharp knowledge of legal matters. Others believe he might have been a gardener because his characters talk about plants and nature like true professionals. Or he might have joined the family business, trading wool and barley and making gloves. But one thing he probably wasn't is a doctor. I mean, just look at Macbeth. Throw physic to the dogs. Shakespeare was clearly not prescribing anything but drama. Arriving in London around 1585 to 1592, we don't know exactly when Shakespeare rolled into London, but sometime in the late 1580s he left his quiet little hometown and showed up in the big city, probably broke, unknown, and looking for a shot at greatness. London back then? A chaotic, buzzing city full of actors, poets, pickpockets, and plague rats. Dreamers and schemers everywhere. The perfect place for a future legend to rise. He likely started out as an actor, maybe working backstage or doing side gigs to survive. By 1592, people noticed him, and not always kindly. Writer Robert Greene, this is the one, threw shade at Shakespeare, calling him an upstart crow, basically saying, who does this small-town boy think he is, stealing our spotlight? Between 1590 and 1594, he dropped fire after fire. Henry VI, parts 1, 2, 3. Medieval Game of Thrones vibes. Titus Andronicus. Ultra-violent, revenge-fueled drama. The Comedy of Errors, Twins, Chaos, Mistaken Identity. Romeo and Juliet, the blueprint for tragic love stories forever. Rising fame and cash flow. By the late 1590s, Shakespeare wasn't just making plays, he was making bank. He became part owner of the Globe Theatre, where his plays were performed to packed crowds. He was no starving artist. He was a creative genius and a sharp businessman. In 1612, after years of chasing the spotlight, Shakespeare left the bustling stages of London and returned to his quiet hometown. Maybe he saw that English theater was losing its soul, becoming more polished, more aristocratic, and less raw. Or maybe he just knew he'd earned enough. Enough fame, enough coin, enough peace. He bought himself a cozy home back in Stratford and settled into his final chapter. On March 25, 1616, he signed his will. His health was failing, and just a month later, on April 23, 1616, he passed away. He left most of his belongings to his daughter Susanna. But his real mic drop, the words he chose for his gravestone, "Good friend, for Jesus' sake forbear, to dig the dust enclosed here. Blessed be the man that spares these stones, and cursed be he that moves my bones." Today, in his hometown of Stratford-upon-Avon, Shakespeare's legacy is still alive and breathing. The Royal Shakespeare Company performs his plays with pride, and the house where he once lived? It's now the Shakespeare Birthplace Museum, a time capsule, a tribute, a place where the world remembers the greatest playwright to ever hold a quill.